All right, guys, so we're going to go over our arc measure and arc length. And arc measure you already know because we've been over that a few times. So if we look at this, what you need to decide is what kind of angle it is. So this one, this 38-degree angle is from here. It's an inscribed angle. So remember our formula for that is angle equals half the arc. So one more time. Angle equals half the arc. So we don't know our angle. We can put an X there. It doesn't matter. You can just leave it blank. Equals half. Sorry, we do know our angle is 38. Equals half X because we don't know our arc. And then we just multiply by 2. So multiply both sides by 2. And then 38 times 2 is 76. Okay. If we look at number 3, it's exactly the same way. Again, we're just going to multiply by 2. So to go outside, multiply by 2. So 30 times 2 is 60. If we look at number 2, angle L matches with this arc. So we're going to multiply by 2. 71 times 2 is 142. And then on number 4, it asks you about arc PQR. So you're going to follow it around, PQR. And you can see that that's the angle G. So it's the same thing. That arc is times 2. So 115 times 2 is 230 degrees. Number 5 is the exact same way. Number 6 is a little different. Okay, so we're going to skip number 5. It's the same thing. We're going to look at number 6. So number 6, you have this angle, which means that you can find this arc. But the problem is we want the question mark down here. Okay, so we can go ahead and do this one. So make sure you're doing 37 times 2, which is 74. But then if you guys look, we highlighted a diameter. So that means half the circle. So to be able to find the rest of this half, we do 180 minus 74. And we get 106. So if you're missing the other arc, check to see if you have that diameter that splits that circle in half. So again, if we look at this one, it's the same exact question. So this 44 will give us this arc. 44 times 2 is 88. But since we need this one, and we have a diameter, I'm sorry, I said 88. We only have half the circle. So all we have to do is subtract 180 minus 88, and we get 92. Okay. So what about this next one? How do we work it out? So it already tells you right here everything that you need to know. This 95 will tell you this arc. So we multiply 95 times 2, and we get 190. We already have this much of the circle as well. So all we're looking for is this part. So remember, a full circle is 360. So we're going to subtract the 190 and the 74. So 360 minus 190 minus 74 gives us 96. So use what you know. Okay? Use what you know and what they give you. So same thing on this one. We have this angle that gives you this arc. 35 times 2 is 70. If you look, we have a diameter, so we don't need this half of the circle. So all we need is 180 minus 70, which is 110. Okay. Number 10 looks just like number 8. The 58 will give us this big arc. So 58 times 2 is 116. I have 116 and 110 of my 360. So I'm going to do 360 minus 110 minus 116. So 360 minus 110 minus 116 gives us 134. Okay, so that's 1 through 10, pretty simple, not too bad. Okay, look at your next one. This one just says solve for x, so it's the same thing, it just gives you an x. So here, again, based on things that you already know, we're given those two angles. So it will either give us the other two sides. So we could either use 57 to get PQ and 63 to get RP. Or you can see that this is a triangle and you could subtract 180, subtract these two from 180 to get this other triangle. And then remember that the angle is half the arc. So I'm actually going to do it that way. I don't care which way you do it. It's up to you. So I'm going to use the triangle. And again, turn this up so you can see it. Remember that a triangle is 180. So I'm going to take out the 57 and the 63. And I'm going to get that the remaining angle is 60 degrees. This is just one way you could do it, okay? And then now I know that the angle is half the arc. So one more time. The angle is half the arc. We're going to multiply 60 by 2, so we get 120 equals 30x. And then we divide by 30. And we get 40. I'm sorry, 4. I don't know, too many zeros, sorry. We get 4. So x is 4. Look at your next one. The 33 will give us this arc. So multiply it by 2 and we get 66. We have a diameter, so we don't need this half of the circle. And we know that these two will add to 180. So there's multiple different ways to do it. This is just the one that I see. So if you see something else, but you get the same answer, it's okay. So add them to equal to 180. So 14 plus 66, we get 10x equals, I'm sorry, 10x, struggling, it's early morning, plus 80 equals 180. We're going to subtract 80. We get 10x equals 100. Divide by 10, and x equals 10. Okay. If we look at the next one, remember, if I'm going a little bit fast, you can always pause this video and check everything out or rewind it so you can see it. I know rewind sounds stupid, but back it up. Look at this one. All right. So on this one, the only good way to do this is to use these angles. So what we can do, I'm going to start with 84 to begin with. I'm going to do it in yellow. No, I'm not going to start with 84. Let me see which one I want to start with. Let's start with the 120. Okay. So 120 gives you that full arc, which would be all of this would be 240. But I already have 130. So 240 minus 130 gives us that this arc is 110. And then you can use your 84. Okay. So here's how this works. Remember your angle, 84 equals half of your arc, and we want the total arc. So we're going to do 110 plus 5x minus 12. We're going to multiply the other side by 2. So 84 times 2 is 168 equals, I'm going to put these together, 5x and then 110 minus 12 is 98. We're going to subtract 98. We get 70 equals 5x. Divide by 5. And we get x equals 14. So that one's a little more complicated, but not too bad. All right, so 14, you kind of had one like this on your quiz, and I'm going to go over it again on that quiz video that I send out later. Remember that angle times 2 gives you your arc. Angle times 2 gives you your arc. So this arc is 24x plus 14. Now I have that full circle. So all of these added together, 31x plus 7 plus 30x minus 1 plus 24x plus 14 will give us that 360 or the full circle. So this is how we'll find x. So we're going to add them up. 31, I'm going to start with my x's, plus 30 plus 24 gives me 85 x's. We have 7 minus 1 plus 14, which gives me 20 equals 360. We're going to subtract 20. We get 85x equals 340. And then we're going to divide by 85. And we get x equals 4. And again, all it asks you to do is solve for x, so you're good to go. All right, so again, there was one like that on your quiz. All right, check out the next one. They give us the angle 47, so that will give us this arc. So we do 47 times 2, which is 94. And then if you look, there's a diameter. So that means we don't need this half of the circle, and this half is going to equal 180. So 10x minus 4 plus 94 equals 180. So 10x plus 90 equals 180. We're going to subtract 90, and I get 10x equals 90. Divide by 10, and x equals 9. All right. So again, that's stuff that you should already know. So those are all review. Now to find arc length, there's a formula for that. So this is your formula for arc length. All right, so the difference is the words arc length versus arc measure. So what we were doing was arc measure, that's your degrees, whatever. Arc length is going to be how long is it actually, like centimeters, inches, whatever they ask for. So this is how you do it. Degree of the central angle over 360. They'll always give you the degree of the central angle. So it's always the degree over 360 equals x over 2 pi r or pi d. This is your circumference. So either or, I don't care which formula you use. It depends on what they give you. So the reason I give you the radius formula is because all of these are radius. So that's why I gave it to you in the radius formula. But if you can remember their circumference formula being pi times diameter, then you can use that as well because you know that a radius is half of the diameter. All right. So we're going to do this formula. We start with our degree, which is 45 over 360. We don't know our arc length over 2 pi times 8. Now, what I do, I'm going to cross multiply it, but I'll leave it in terms of pi. So when we cross multiply, we're going to get 360x. This just makes it a little bit easier for you, and the numbers are a lot nicer. And we're going to do 45 times 2 times 8, which gives you 720. And then we throw that pi on the end, again, because it gives you a nicer number when you divide by 360. So we're going to do 720 divided by 360, which gives us 2. So our answer is 2 pi. You can leave it just like that. If it's multiple choice and it has decimals, just plug it in, and I would suggest that you use the pi key right here. So second and that little up button, and then it'll give you the decimal. So it's not a huge deal, okay? I just like to leave it in terms of pi. So we're going to do it again. Degree over 360 equals x over 2 pi, and your radius is 18. We're going to cross multiply and get 360x equals 30 times 2 times 18, which is 1080. Don't forget to put your pi on the end. And then we're going to divide by 360, and we get x equals 3 and throw the pi on the end. They're all exactly the same. I'm going to do one more for you, and then I'll quit this video, okay? So 135 over 360 equals x over 2 pi 7. We're going to cross multiply. We get 360x equals 135 times 2 times 7. which is 1890, and throw your pi on the end. We're going to divide by 360. And if you guys look, I get a decimal. So I'm just going to do math, enter, to get a fraction. So this gives you 21 over 4 pi. And you can leave it just like that. Again, if it gives you the decimal 5.25, multiply that by pi. So second pi, and it'll give you the full decimal. So it's whatever they give you for multiple choice. It's whatever. I would rather you leave it in terms of pi because it's a little bit easier for you to work out. And that is it. So those are your notes for today. If you have any questions, you just need to ask me, and then we can go from there. So hope you guys have a good day.